Check, 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 Mike, check 1, 2. We are live. Welcome, everybody, to Gaming Daily Live. My name is Icy Gaming. Happy Thursday, April 30th. It is the last day of the month, man. Yeah, spring is in full effect, man. The birds are chirping, the trees are blooming, the flowers are sprouting. I'm super stoked to be here today. Hopefully, you guys are having a great week. Today we have an exciting one. We're talking to the big one GG. It's an on-chain MMO being built on Solana. And what makes this one interesting is that they're not coming with the usual Web3 gaming pitch where there's, hyping up a token. There's no giant VC narrative. There's no polished fake roadmap theater. It's just a raw indie build happening in public with a pretty direct message that I want to dig into. Eric and the big one have been kind of vocal about saying that crypto gaming kind of sucks and they are trying to fix it. So we're going to talk to them about how they're trying to do that. But before we do, we got to shout out the sponsors that make this show possible. We got new logos. Check out the logos. We got YGG Play. We got Blaze. I did that backwards. YGG Play and Blaze. Thank you guys for making this show possible. We are live on Blaze, and tomorrow we're hosting a very fun game night with GigaChadBat from YGG Play streaming on Blaze. So we'll tell you more about that at the end. But let's bring on Eric from the big one, and we should have him here. Hey, what's going on, Eric? Welcome to Gaming Daily Live, brother.
Hey, Icy. Thank you for having me. It's awesome to be here.
Yeah, it's awesome to have you, man. We were saying right before we went live, you've been very persistent in the comments and, saying hey, take a look at what we're building, what we're doing. And I respect that, man. Game is game. You got to respect the hustle, the grind. You got to make noise and get yourself out there. So well done. And also, I always appreciate the energy and the engagement, and anybody who's taken time out of their day to comment on something that I'm doing, I appreciate.
Yeah. We're a bit of we like to troll a lot, but we're also very persistent in trying to get people to take a look at what we're building. So yeah, thank you for giving us a shot.
I love that, man. I mean, let's start right there, dude. Tell us a little bit more about what you are building. I'll share the Twitter here. Let me pull that up. It is an autonomous world where players PvP, trade, and socialize. It does look like the game is still kind of in early development, which I love that you guys are building in public and showing, the process. But, how would you introduce the big one to somebody who, has never heard of it?
Yeah, it's something I've honestly struggled with to find the words to describe exactly what we're doing. It's almost like if I knew exactly how to describe it, I wouldn't have to paint the picture of the world. I wouldn't have to develop it. But yeah, if I had to describe it, it's an open world sandbox style MMO with a fully on-chain economy that resembles more of a DeFi protocol than a publisher controlled centralized monopoly token style economy. So money moves in and out of the economy freely. We support multiple different currencies: USDC, Solana, Bitcoin. Your items are also tokens, so they're represented as NFTs. Your in-game inventory is a wallet. Your bank is a separate on-chain vault. So we're going really deep on the on-chain economical side of the game. We also aspire to one day bring the game physics and the game logic on-chain as well, to allow for that composability and decentralization. So no longer relying on the studio to maintain the servers. But we're taking it one step at a time. So we're taking a very pragmatic approach to the on-chain piece, starting with the economy. As far as gameplay, it's a world that I would describe as being separated in two. So one side is very social. It's focused on, chatting with your friends, forming up in groups, trading, just kind of hanging out. The other side, as you travel north, you enter the wilderness area. and this is where you can engage in combat with other players. It is risk-based, so if you die, you lose the items that you bring with your character. And players can earn real money rewards in that wilderness area. Yeah.
Listen, man, I cut my teeth in RuneScape. That's where I get my gamer cred.
Me too.
I one of the best games of all time. My childhood grew up on it. The feeling I realized recently playing Arc Raiders, like what I loved about Arc Raiders was exactly what I loved about RuneScape and the Wilderness, in that they're both like that game mode. It's both PvP VE, where it's, you know, kind of an extraction, you know, shooter in a way. Well, RuneScape's not so much a shooter, but like extraction PvPvE, where you're going in, man, and if you lose whatever you lose it, and you come out with whatever you win with. And dude, so many times, like trying to escape the wilderness with like some rune armor, it's like, oh, let me just get out. Or like you die and then you gotta like rush back and hope that your stuff is still there, but like 9 times out of 10 it wasn't. But the times where it was, like, you're like, oh my gosh, how did this survive? So that's cool.
I think that's a great analogy, by the way. There's a ton of overlap between extraction shooters and what RuneScape is, and we're kind of blending the two. So I think that's really makes a lot of sense, actually.
Yeah, no, I love that. I mean, yeah, you guys even kind of like shouted out, you know, in this tweet here on the screen. Real quick, I just do want to shout out, speaking of shout outs, the Blaze chat is going wild. Thank you, Doffer, for all the votes. Shout out to Brachia. Shout out to everyone pulling up. Appreciate y'all. Yasha, nice to see y'all. Eric, I want to ask, like, so where is the development of the game? Because it does feel very early. You're kind of showing like these early works in progress, you know, as you are developing new animations or mechanics or whatnot. But, you know, it feels very early. There's not too much to see, and I think we can get into a demo a little bit later on. But like, tell us like where the, you know, what stage is the game development in the studio? Also give us like some history of the studio, how long you guys been building, how big is the team, did you guys raise money, like how are you funding this, you know, why did you choose Solana? I know I'm throwing a bunch of questions at you, but I'd love to kind of just understand more about the big one.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so we started building this about 2 years ago. Started out with a much simpler version of the game. It was kind of like client server architecture. It wasn't great. We scrapped the whole project a year in, and we started over 1 year ago. Now, since a year ago, by the way, like I solo founded the company, I managed to find a bunch of developers and artists that are extremely talented, who are just really awesome people that, you know, obviously, like being a solo founder, not raising any VC capital, we've been like very capital restrained. And so we've had to be very creative in building the team. But I've managed to find some really awesome people, happen to be early on in their career, to come and join the company and lend us their talents. So we've assembled a team of about 6 people. And we spent a year now building the game from the ground up with like client, dedicated server, on-chain backend architecture. You know, doing everything right now is built in Unity. We've spent a year building out all of like these intricate combat systems, user interfaces. On the backend side, we've spent considerable amount of time building out peer-to-peer trading and like what happens when I die in the wilderness with my items, and like so designing all of that on-chain logic to make sure it's secure and it's smooth. By the way, it goes without saying, a lot of using on-chain apps is very, there's a lot of friction involved.
Yes.
In the form of like, you know, gas fees and transaction pop-ups. And so in designing this whole system, we've taken considerable amount of time ensuring that players aren't having to pay for gas. And so like nice. When you kill somebody in the wilderness and you pick up NFT sword, there's no like, you know, sign this message and now sign the pay the gas for the transfer. And so, yeah, we've spent a lot of time.
That's really cool. I get, sorry to interrupt you, but I don't know if we've seen that mechanic, and we probably should, but an on-chain multiplayer game where, yeah, if you die with some NFTs on you and someone else picks those NFTs up, those are now in their account or their wallet or whatnot. And if it's gasless, I mean, I would imagine that designing around that architecture would be quite intense.
Yeah, and that's why we've picked a chain like Solana. It's very high throughput. It's low fee,
Yeah.
and it allows for this deep on-chain integration that's like fast, cheap, and seamless. So
I mean, can we double click into that? Like, how do you even achieve that? Like, are you guys paying gas fees for it? Is there architecture where it's like it's incredibly cheap, but I mean, at scale with all these NFTs, on chain transacting or jumping from owner to owner or whatnot? I mean, what does that even look like?
yeah, it's a good question. So at scale, building on Solana, it's only costing us like fractions of a cent per on-chain action. And the way we're paying for that is through a gas wallet that the company controls. And so this is, I guess, formally referred to as a gas relay system. And so that's the idea is that we're inserting our gas into those transactions for the users.
Got it. That makes sense. That's cool.
Yeah, it's so like a lot of what you see is like not on the screen, and that's why it's like, yeah, we're building for 2 years and it looks kind of basic, but on the back end there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
That said, we have an incredible art team who's redesigning the whole game world, and I'm really excited to show that in a few months, but it's not ready yet.
Very cool. Yeah, sorry, I was just like in my head I was just processing and thinking like like with the items and NFTs being on chain, it adds a whole new layer to the game play and the gamer experience, because when you die, like, yes, okay, in Call of Duty, you might get the kill cam or something like that. You can see like the match stats afterwards, but now you're going to be able to like track your NFTs on chain of like, wait, who killed me? Who got those NFTs? And then you can see like you can track those NFTs and see like where their journey goes, which is a really cool idea. And honestly is like one of the original concepts that got me excited about crypto and gaming and this immutability, and it's all on chain and you can track it. So what happens if you end up getting a sword from like a burnt peanut, you keep picking up a gun that he used in Arc Raiders or something like that, like that'd be really cool. These persistent
totally
items.
Yeah, no, it totally changes the game experience. Like you were saying, in Call of Duty, you pick up a gun off the ground. It's just kind of it's like a throwaway item. It lives on a server. It's deleted. It's not persistent. But even in a persistent world, like World of Warcraft, if you pick up a sword, you don't actually own the sword. You can't trade it with other people. I think when you bring tokens and game items that can tap into like third-party economic rails and they can be freely traded, it makes the experience much more immersive. Like, if I pick up a sword off the ground, I can go sell it for 25 USDC. And it's just really interesting. And each sword or each game item, like you said, has this like ledger of history, and each item tells a story. So it's not only like, more thrilling to pick up an item off the ground, but it's more it adds to the story of the whole world.
Yeah, 100%. There's something that hits different about collecting an NFT in a game where that you own it and you own it on chain, and that is it's sovereign in a way. And I first had this experience, I've had it a few times, but one of the memorable ones was in Big Time, where we were slaying one of the dungeon bosses and whatnot, and they drop NFTs, and like you can pick up super rare NFTs, and I got like a it was the item number 6 of like this rare crown, and it was a purple epic rare, and I'm like, this is amazing, right? And it's like it felt different because I'm like, this is in my wallet and I could go trade it on the marketplace in an open economy, which is just different from, like, okay, getting the dungeon loot from like a boss raid, even though like that's amazing and like you care about that, but like knowing that I could take it on chain outside of the game economy was just a lot different. Eric, I want to ask you, like, so you're trying to you're building an MMO, and an on-chain MMO, which is not easy. It's a small indie dev team. You guys kind of claim like crypto gaming is broken, it sucks. You've seen a lot of things go wrong with the industry. There's a lot to criticize, and you guys want to be one of the ones to fix that. And I think that that's a tall task. I think it's a tall order. So I'm curious,
sure.
like, where that confidence comes from, and how you guys realistically think about approaching that and solving it, and doing, and being successful in that endeavor.
Yeah, well, it's a funny situation because crypto gaming, for the most part, a lot of the games you see being built are kind of like they're like incremental improvements on a regular old Web 2 game.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of odd because like you're already taking the leap into being in crypto to begin with. It's like a dirty word practically if you mention it in public. And so it's like, I find it odd how many games come here and they take these little incremental baby steps. They add like a token to a Web 2 mobile app, and like that's a crypto game. And it's like, it's not, I don't think, a very effective strategy. When you look at history, the products that change the world are the ones that take the big leaps. Like it wasn't the BlackBerry that changed the smartphone industry. It was the iPhone. And the iPhone was wildly different from any other smartphone that came before it. News websites compared to like what Facebook was, for example. These were like big leaps. They were taking huge risks and doing things that no one had ever done before. And that's kind of how we see what we're doing. Like in a way, we're taking a big risk because like trying to build a fully on-chain game economy in a virtual world is like this almost insurmountable task. But if it's done right, it could be a really magical experience. And we don't claim to know exactly how to do this the right way, but we're certainly going to take our shot at it.
I love that. I respect that. It reminds me of conversations with Sinjin, who it's like, we didn't come to participate. We came to take over and, swing for the freaking stars, man. Like here to, disrupt and innovate. So I respect that energy, man. Well, tell me a little bit about you, your background, whatever you're comfortable sharing. Like how did you get into this? How did you, did you have game development experience? Like what brought you into crypto? Like how did this come to be?
So I've been involved in gaming for a really long time, just as a consumer, I guess. I've always been super competitive. When it comes to gaming, I guess like I started out in RuneScape, then I got into World of Warcraft. I always took these things really seriously. I don't know why, but like in WoW, I got really into Arena. And I ended up, when I would queue up for a match, I'd be playing against the best players in the world. And so then I started selling like arena boosts to players. Like somebody would want to be a gladiator, then, okay, come join my 3v3 team, we'll boost you. I got into League of Legends. I happened to become an ELO booster. So I played games for money for a really long time. And then I learned about Bitcoin and crypto 2016, 2017, kind of speculated for a bit. But I was really drawn towards it because I just thought it was fun and cool. I got into development. I worked on a prediction market, one of the earlier prediction markets called Omen, for a company called DXDAO. And then but I was really drawn towards the crypto gaming thing. Once I saw like CryptoKitties and Axie Infinity and like Dark Forest, I was like, wow, this is the craziest application of this technology, because we typically think of crypto as like a ledger for tracking money and transactions, but not as like a platform for building virtual worlds. And so
Yeah.
that was like crazy to me. I ended up working in the crypto gaming industry for a number of years, on the actually as a like a, kind of in a VC scenario, on the buy side of like a small fund.
Mm.
And so I've kind of, since I learned about like Axie and all that whole ecosystem, I was really drawn towards the crypto gaming thing. And then like 2 years ago decided to start building my own game. But no, I have no experience in developing games. I mean, I'm like kind of a dev, but not really. So I really have no idea what I'm doing. But I am like an artist, and I feel like I have good taste, and I'm, formerly like a competitive gamer, so I might have like some idea of how to design these things.
That's cool, man. That's really cool. Like take me back to that moment though. So you've been in the industry for a while, like you're a competitive gamer. What was it that you saw that you're like crypto gaming? Like this is like I want to make my own game. Like I want to. I've seen maybe on the fun side, you were seeing what was going on in the space. You saw Axie, and you're like, I can do this, and I can do it in a way that like I have a solution that no one else is working on, or like just take like like take me back to that decision and like what was going through your mind.
Yeah, well, after spending a few years in VC, I saw like hundreds, probably 1,000 plus different projects,
Yeah.
and they all just seemed very unimaginative to me. And I
Mm,
felt like there's a really like crazy community here they're wild about crypto games, and they're being underserved
mm.
by the current developers. And like a lot of the guys coming into the crypto gaming space, I don't want to throw shade or anything, but they're like, they come from a background as like a banker on Wall Street, or like
Mm.
they have like they're funding, they come from like a previous startup that was like the previous hot thing, and now they're on to
Yeah.
like crypto gaming, which is like the next hot thing, like
Yeah.
play to earn, and so like the whole like last wave of crypto gaming was largely led, I think, by people who weren't really like into the games themselves, but more so building in something that was like the thing to do. Um, yeah, and so I felt like I had a kind of like a unique perspective on like gaming and crypto, and I felt like I wanted to express that.
I can respect that, man. I can appreciate that a lot. There was, I mean, even me as a content creator in the space, I'm not a game developer. I don't have a traditional game industry experience. I was like really kind of one of the crypto bros that you know uh found crypto gaming and got really excited about that like overlap in the Venn diagram, and it reignited my inner gamer. And I'm like, you know what, like I want to help contribute to this industry. I don't know what I'm doing, but I maybe I can figure it out, and somehow 4 years later here we are. But like I definitely got the sense that seeing so many of the games, I'm like, this is like very uninspired. I'm like, I don't,
Mm,
maybe I'm
yeah,
missing something. Clearly, I'm missing something because you raised millions of dollars and you've got people who are working on this every day. So, maybe I must be wrong. And it turns out, like, I wasn't so wrong. A lot of the games were uninspired, and maybe some of them were mismanaged, some of them were incompetent, some of them were great developers and great games that just didn't pan out, because it's a hit driven business. Everyone
for sure.
understands that.
Yeah.
So it's not an indictment on all of crypto gaming, but there was a wide spectrum, and for sure I've been kind of on my soapbox, speaking about the lack of innovation and the lack of excitement, not only on the gaming side, but also on the crypto tokenomics, how it's like integrated. And I find myself, Eric, continuously going back to Ice Poker, which was the original game that brought me into the space. And I mean, like that game at the time, and even today by crypto gaming standards, was like revolutionary in the gameplay, in the model where it was like, virtual poker in Decentraland, and they had the whole metaverse narrative going for them. But the game worked, and the play to earn aspect worked, and their NFTs worked, and it was this really cool blend of culture and finance. And then like the way that the whole token economy was designed, you got your tokens on the website, you could delegate your wearables to other players and like lend them out, and you had your guild. It was very much inspired by Axie, don't get me wrong. It's like it was very much like Axie, but at the same time it was a game with a bigger TAM in poker, and they were just doing a lot of interesting things. And then on the DeFi tokenomic side, all of that was deeply integrated into the game, into the website. It all worked really, really well. You could stake your tokens, and just like the levers that they had were like enthralling, man. We were doing spreadsheets and playing the game every day. And I haven't really had that experience since. And that's not to say that that's the only experience, because, I've played off the grid, and I think, something like that makes a ton of sense. A AAA game, PlayStation 5, tradable marketplace, and there's no, it's just like the skins and whatnot. So I think, there's definitely different models and ways to make it work. But by and large, in the graveyard of crypto games, shout out to Mount Doji. I need that floating cyber deck. Yeah, no, this is sick, dude. I'm like, that's why I've kind of left it on the screen, because it's so captivating as well. But yeah, I've just been uninspired by a lot of the game design.
What's funny is like poker is one of those games that's been integrating money, I don't know, for probably like centuries. And
the
same
original
with, like,
play to earn.
Exactly, like risk to earn. And then if you go, people play chess for money, and so money can coexist in a game, so long as it's like a sustainable model and it makes sense within the gameplay itself.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's not to say, because Ice Poker suffered the same fate, or suffered from the same problems as Axie Infinity, where ultimately the token economy was not sustainable and it kind of came crashing down. And then the studio really struggled to find their way after that with a revenue generating product. Not for lack of trying, they pivoted a whole bunch and launched some really great products, in my opinion, just weren't able to make it work. So let's go back to the big one, Eric. What, like, you guys have been building for 2 years. You scrapped everything a year in, rebuilt it, which again, massive respect and kudos. We've talked a lot about Project O, who, famously did the same thing 18 months into their game. They're like, this is not fun. It's not working. Like,
a lot of games do it. Yeah. Even Palworld scrapped the whole game. It was originally built in Unity, and then they switched over to Unreal with zero experience in building on Unreal.
Yeah, so I respect like the developers who are able to do that, and like, listen to themselves. But you've been building for a year. I guess, like, what does the next 6 to 12 to 18 months look like for the big one? What is it going to take for you guys to finish the game, to launch, the first versions? Kind of like, what is that going to take? Are you guys going to be raising money? Are you guys going to be doing some type of closed play test? Kind of talk me through the short to near term future.
Sure. Yeah. So we fully bootstrapped the whole game for the full 2 years so far. We've just recently started to take a little bit of money from friends and family, basically like a small pre-seed round, nothing crazy. Like, we intentionally run the studio very lean, and so our burn rate isn't very high, and so we're able to operate on like very limited amount of cash. As far as what it's gonna look like going forward, we're aiming for a closed alpha test within 3 months. From there, we'll go into some kind of like bigger closed beta in like 6 months down the road. 9 months do an open beta, and then in 12 months some kind of early access release. The game's fully web-based, so it won't be coming out on like a Steam or an Epic Games, I think it's probably like there's too much meaningful crypto integration for it to be legal on those platforms. So it'll be fully web-based, no downloads. But yeah, if anyone is listening and you're interested in like helping us test and improve the game, we have I think the Telegram link is out there. Maybe it's not, but we do have like a Telegram. Yeah, we'd love for anyone interested in this stuff to come help us out.
Very cool. Very cool. Let's talk about the founders keys. I think you guys had some founders keys a few months ago. I think it was like a free claim. How did that go? What are these keys? What are they going to be used for? Why should people, what do people need to know about those?
Yeah, it was just our kind of creative, fun way of building up a sign-up list, basically, for anyone interested in the game. They went and claimed their early access, and they got like a little digital key on their login on the website. So the key, it's not like an NFT or anything. It's like, but it is attached to your wallet credentials. And so later on, we might mint and give those players a key. We'll also open it up again to come and sign up for your key. But it might just be like a cool little keepsake showing that, like, I'm one of the early testers. Cool collectible, being that, like, the whole game economy is on chain, so you could have like a little keepsake that stays with you forever. I think that's really fun.
Cool, man. Cool. I like that. Talk to me about, I guess, the character design, the aesthetic. I see a lot of like, building in public, work in progress clips and whatnot on the page. You kind of going for this anime waifu-ish aesthetic. Talk to me about like that. Like, is there lore? Is there like, how does this kind of tie into the world that you guys are building?
Yeah, I don't know. There's no real deep meaning behind it. I kind of think anime characters look cool. I will say, like, a lot of the crypto games I see are, for lack of a better word, like kind of ugly. And we really wanted to bring something very like aesthetic and visually pleasing. And so, yeah, we put a lot of attention to detail in our character design. And later on in a few months, you'll see our whole like open world and the cities we're building. They're really incredible looking. So we want to give people the full experience, not just like a fun on-chain game, but something that's like really like artistically compelling.
Very cool. Very cool. Okay. Can you give me anything on like that world? Do you have like concepts of how big the map is? Are there or like things that people could maybe see? Or, I mean, if you have something to show, maybe now is a good time to kind of jump into some of that demo. Because I'm thinking of like the RuneScape map. I'm thinking of, we always talk about Grand Theft Auto 6 is like 3 times bigger than the GTA 5 map. people care about those. So I'm like curious, like what kind of world people can expect to see.
We're a small indie team, so there's nothing like GTA 6 going on here. It's a relatively small map. It's designed to support 200 concurrent players. And part of that is because, like, in an open world PvP scenario, so you've played RuneScape, and I'm sure you're familiar with like Edgeville. And could you imagine if like 3,000 people were in Edgeville PKing? Yeah. It'd be crazy. So the world supports 200 people, and this is our basic game world right now. It's like a floating island. There's a city. We've got a bot here who's, we can trade DM, add them as a friend. Like I said, our inventory is fully on chain. So you have like your Solana. You've got a SPX 6900 token.
Oh, sorry. Let me add your screen. I apologize.
Sorry. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good.
I should have said something, but yeah.
No, this is cool. I like this. Okay, keep going. Tell me more.
Okay, so this is our like first version of our world. Our artists right now are working their asses off to bring like all of our new ideas to fruition. But so this is it today, and so we've got like our on-chain inventory, our Solana token, our little SPX, our tiny little SPX token.
Mm-hmm.
All of our weapons are here, so these are all like different NFTs. They're fully tradable. I can drop them on the ground. I can put them in my bank. And so this is like the side of the game world that's like the safe zone.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be attacked here. It's, you know, I'd socialize. I might say like, I want to buy a rare sword. Probably would be better to say that inside of the city up here. But this is where you'd come and kind of engage in the economy, talk with your friends, hang out. As you head north, there's this big barrier, and the barrier is what separates the safe zone from the PvP zone.
Yeah.
And this is where I would go if I wanted to PvP. We could go fight people here. The thing about our combat system is like, one thing we wanted to avoid was having huge chaotic brawls where, say, like you step foot in the wilderness and you just get pile jumped by like 50 people.
Yeah.
And so we've intentionally just designed around that, where the default combat is a 1v1 based duel. So similar to RuneScape, we're kind of like tracking whether or not a player is in combat. And so the combat is a third person based. If anyone's familiar with like Guns the Duel, we're obviously heavily inspired by those like Korean third person shooters. There's a lot of animation cancels going on. There's sword play. There's pistols. There's also shotguns. We can reload, cancel our pistol. We can, cancel our slash animation. But yeah, this is where I would go and engage in duels with people. The other interesting thing about this part of the map is that there's these orbs that spawn randomly, and the orbs contain like tokens, like USDC or Solana or Bitcoin. They also contain game items, and so players will come out here searching for those orbs, and that's like their incentive to come out here in the first place, and then they're naturally will like fight over like contesting for these orbs basically. By the way, when an orb spawned, that the radius around the orb is a multi PvP zone, but everything outside of it is 1v1 based.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah. Real quick, Eric, couple questions from the chat here.
Sure.
How do I get clothes and weapons as a new player? Are you going to be starting with it? Maybe it's too early for that because the game is very much in development. We haven't even had a closed play test yet. But I mean, yeah, how are what is that vision for the first time user player experience? Like you load in, are you going to have starter wooden sword and whatnot, or how are you guys thinking about the items and stuff?
Yeah, so one thing is that we want to make sure the game is largely skill based. We want it to be fun, and we don't want you to just get crushed by somebody that's going to come in and buy a legendary sword off the bat. So we're being really careful about how we balance this. So you could expect to come in with a starter sword and be able to compete with somebody that has a legendary, provided that you're good at the game. Yeah, we're trying to avoid like that cold start scenario where like you come into the game and you don't have a weapon.
Yeah.
So I think Axie Infinity solved this with the scholarship system.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're leaning towards giving people like a big like rusty butter knife, but you can still like mess people up with it.
That's fun. I really like, one of my favorite things about talking to indie game developers like yourself, Eric, is like you so often it's like it's your game and you can do whatever you want, right? Like let's have fun, like let's do silly things, like like a rusty butter knife, like why not, It reminds me of Goblin Town and some of their game design. They're like, yeah, like we're just gonna be ridiculous and have these ridiculous ideas, like you can shout into your microphone and it will slow down time and it gives you like more time to interact.
That's awesome.
Like, and it's just like, why not? That's what game development is to me, right? Like, let's push the boundaries of what you can do with a video game.
Yeah, exactly. Let's make art and let's have fun. That's what it's all about.
Make art and have fun. I love that, man. I love that. This is really cool, man. I wanted to go to this blog post that you guys had, or I guess like maybe your last game development update. And you talked about building in, one of the most hated industries on earth, which again, I respect that you guys like kind of call it how it is, or you're not afraid to be outspoken in that
Yeah,
regard.
yeah. I mean, let's be honest. It's like if you go to a party and say you're building in crypto, people are cringing. But we're not afraid. We're cringe maxing. So
yeah, I always try so when I'm in that situation, people are like, oh, what do you do? This just happened to me last night because at this local open claw event in Boston. And I'm like, oh, I do video game marketing. And people are always like, oh, wow, like that's so cool. Like, oh, like tell me more about that. Like, what kind of video games? And I'm like, well, I help crypto video games with their social media. And they're like, crypto video games? What does that mean? Like, how does that even work? And I'm like, how much time do you have? And
yeah.
I'm like,
so
it doesn't
funny.
really work. We're trying to figure it out.
It's still a work in progress.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, no, I like that you have a very authentic and unique voice on the timeline. You're very much yourself. And I always appreciate when developers are putting out like the game updates and the game developer updates, and sharing where things are at. So I guess my question for you, Eric, was like, how has it been for you, small indie developer, experienced in the space, working on this game, with a small team, self-funding it, and just like navigating the crypto Twitter, the crypto gaming landscape over the past year, where we've had over 60 games shut down. You're probably seeing so-called KOLs on the timeline talking about this, talking about that, and it's just like so much of it is probably noise. And I talk to a lot of game developers that are like, you guys have no idea, like crypto, they lament crypto Twitter because they're like, you guys have no freaking clue what you're talking about, but because it's crypto Twitter and a bubble and like the water cooler, they kind of have to like tolerate it or put up with it, or figure out how they want to engage in it. So I'm just curious, like for you building a game and being on Twitter and talking about your game, like how has that been for you? Has it been difficult to be like, holding conviction and developing your game and pushing forward? Has
Not
it
at
been?
all. No.
Yeah, talk to me.
Not at all. No, I mean, I have a lot of conviction in what we're building because I feel like we're doing something very different from the rest. And there's no doubt that crypto gaming is in a bear market. But whether you like it or not, I think it's somewhat deserved just because of the quality of the products that have been out there. And so, yeah, when I wake up and see another crypto game that's gone out of business, I can't say it's like a big surprise to me. And I kind of started building this game kind of full well understanding that the whole industry was collapsing. And it was actually one of the reasons I wanted to build here. So, yeah, it doesn't really affect me. I mean, to be honest, I'm just having a ton of fun.
I love that. Well, tell me more about why doesn't it affect you, and why was the industry facing a downturn make it more enticing for you to build?
Well, it doesn't affect us because we're not trying to raise like $5 million from VCs. If we were, we'd have a really tough time. Thankfully, I saved up some money and I was able to self-fund this. I had the help from a few friends recently in like a Series A, or sorry, a pre-seed. And like so, but why would we want to build when an industry is collapsing? Peter Thiel says to build where there is no competition. Like competition is for losers. And that's definitely the case here. There's very limited competition. Like every day, one would-be competitor is unfortunately going under. And it's only in rainy weather when you're in a race that you can overtake like 5 cars in one pass. On a normal sunny day, you're lucky if you can pass 1 car. So there's definitely some kind of like strategic thinking that went into the timing of when we decided to build the game.
That's cool. I'm a big F1 fan, man. So I love that reference. Shout out to Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah.
uh,
Exactly. I probably butchered the quote, but yeah.
no, dude, that's sick. And shout out to Doffer. He's like, damn, that's a strong mentality to Dev. So dude, I love that mentality. How has it been for you connecting with other game developers and founders? Because like, I feel like this is very much, a lot of what you're talking about is like echoing things that, I've talked to Sinjin about. I talked to Chris Heatherly. We talk on Gamified about a lot of these ideas and concepts. I mean, I had Matthew Buxton on from Warp, and I think that he echoes a lot of these sentiments. And Isra yesterday from Dice or Die, who's been developing his game for 15 years. I mean, there's this cohort of like true, genuine indie game developers who like kind of can see all the BS out there and are aptly calling it. It's like, that's just BS. And like, all right, like we see the lane where we are just gonna like overtake everybody. But I'm curious, like, have you tried to, connect with other founders and kind of like commiserate together, or are you kind of just on your island, shit posting and trolling a little bit on Twitter and Devin it up?
Definitely both. I think if you looked at my DMs, you'd probably be shocked to see how many people I DM every day. To be honest, we don't get a lot of responses, but I like to try to network. I'm definitely interested in connecting with other founders. But I think it's the one thing that is tough about the industry collapsing in on itself is it's like you immediately, as if you're like a crypto gaming account, like your credibility is just like is immediately gone down, right? And it's like people are like immediately skeptical of whatever. Like it's like, hey, we're building a game. It's like, oh, this is a scam. Yeah. So that part's been difficult. I haven't had a chance to speak to Sinjin or many other devs. So we're somewhat on an island, but definitely like open to reaching out and have been doing that.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool, man. I think there was a take. The take was going around recently of like what, like, why Web3 gaming is suffering or dying or failing, or like what went wrong. And I forget who posted it. Memento shared it. Sam commented on it, but I had one of the takes. It's like in my drafts. I didn't end up posting it, but it's along the lines of like, I feel like too many people were building in their silos, and there wasn't like this game founder cabal, for lack of a better term, of like, hey, like this is what we're trying and this is why we think it's going to work, and this is how we're thinking about it. What do you guys think? And then like, Jiho could say like, oh, we tried that and this is why it didn't work, and here's maybe how you could think about it, or this or that. Like, I know that there were founder group chats for sure that I'm not a part of, but like I don't think at an industry level that type of knowledge share was happening. And I think that we are worse off because of it. Because I got to tell you, man, I mean, I've talked to game after game after game, or like new chain or new ambassador program or new whatever, some solution for gaming. And they're like, here's what we're doing and here's how we're trying to solve the problem. And I'm like, this other chain tried that 2 years ago. Like, it didn't work. It's not going to work. Like, you guys are trying to, literally everyone is trying to reinvent the wheel. Mm-hmm. and in their own way. And they're not checking with anybody else of like, hey, what blueprints, what schematics, what materials work, what designs work. And it's like, we're worse off for it. But at the same time, I agree with you, man. I mean, I think like the people that are sticking it out through this period are the ones that are like here for, have a real amount of grit and are here for a bigger vision. And hopefully, to quote Steve Jobs, like the crazy ones that go on to change the world. So that's really cool, man. Let me ask you, what are some of the things that I guess or is there anything that you building the big one like wish was different, or wish that like people saw or appreciated about what you're doing, or like wish that you know could I don't know, not get credit for, but like is there anything that you see in the space that you wish was like different or fixed, that like I don't know, maybe me or somebody watching this could be like, oh hey, like you know, let me help you out with that.
It's a good question. I guess like if I had to point out any one flaw of the industry, it would be that like people tend to, they kind of all focus on like, you know, the game that's making them the most money or whatever, and that's like the loudest product on the timeline, which makes sense because incentives just rule everything. But a
Yeah,
lot of times that game ends up being like just another shallow kind of transient, temporary
yeah,
crypto game.
flash in the pan. Yeah,
But you know, that's, we can't like alter the physics of reality. That's just kind of how the world works. So, yeah,
I mean,
I don't have many complaints.
like there's a quote from the movie War Games, which if you haven't seen it, I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but one of the quotes is, you know, weird game, the only way to win is to not play. And this is how I felt about meme coins. This is how I felt about token launches. This is how I felt about like KOL rounds and investments. Like, dude, like the game is weird, and I'm just not going to put my energy or time into it because you know it's not, it doesn't align with where I think, you know, what interests me in the space or whatnot. I think crypto like devolving into a casino is deeply depressing. I understand that, uh you know like we got to be honest about things, and in many ways crypto like has just been a casino, but I hold on to like the hope that it can be so much more and so much bigger and better, and I think that ultimately it is. I exist largely in the bubble of crypto Twitter, but like, you know, Meta enabling stablecoin payouts for creators using Solana and Polygon is like, you know, institutional involvement in stablecoins and RWAs and DeFi, like I think is really, really great. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
the
could,
gambling stuff is just such low hanging fruit, so it's kind of makes sense why that's the first real product market fit you see for crypto, even
yeah,
bigger than DeFi.
yeah, which I have no problem with like that being a aspect of the industry, but when I see like Magic Eden effectively shut down and pivot to pure, you know, social casino, I'm just like, that's
Yeah.
depressing.
It's just a symptom of where we are at, I think, in the long arc of like this industry.
Yeah,
We're at the very beginning of that,
it's very
and
true.
you know, over time, I think that like the best products are works of art, and it's really difficult to make them. But I believe they'll come. I really believe like crypto and open economic rails are like one of the most interesting mediums for building the future of like entertainment.
Absolutely. No, 100%. I also like need to zoom out because it's like complaining about the internet in 1999. And it's like, why don't we have Uber and Netflix and Spotify yet? It's like, it's going to come. It just takes a really long time. And I've just been like in the trenches for so long that my eyes are bleeding. Eric, you've been super generous with your time. And I want like the last question that I have for you is the game is called The Big One. What does that mean? What is the big one?
It's like a big virtual world. I don't know. I mean, I guess potentially we'll have like, I mean, being an on-chain game, it can, the economy could like eclipse like nation states basically, and so I think that is part of what into the naming of the game. But it, you know, mostly just like a fun kind of like silly name that I came up with. Kind of, yeah, like I said, we're all about just having fun and trying to make great art.
That's cool, man. I love it. Eric, is there anything that we didn't talk about that you wanted to get out there?
No, I think we covered a lot. If you're listening and you like what you're hearing and you like the idea of the game that I'm sharing, feel free to give us a follow. We'll definitely need playtesters, and especially playtesters that are passionate about crypto gaming. And your audience is definitely aligned with that. So yeah, that's about it.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. You also, well, just I have a comment on that, but before I do, you also stream sometimes, like working on the game, like developing the game. Is that true? Are you going to keep doing that, or was it kind of like a few one-off streams?
I was kind of just experimenting. Like, I wasn't getting a ton of viewers.
Mhm.
But one thing I'm trying to figure out is like this whole content thing. If I'm being
Mhm.
honest, like that's our one shortcoming is like trying to create content that speaks to people on a human level instead of being like, we're a corporation building this game and here's a cinematic. It's
Mm.
like, here's me and like building boots on the ground, like with the community. And so that's like the overarching concept of like where we're trying to go with our content. The streams were an experiment. I might bring them back, but honestly, I've been like super heads down in like our internal team Discord, just like grinding it out. But yeah, I don't know. Do you think I should keep doing it or what?
I respect being heads down. I think that there's a time and place for that. I also think that content is an incredible lever that just creates so many opportunities and serendipity that you could never even imagine. The best thing that I ever did was start streaming and then making content and being kind of active and vocal on Twitter and then present. And so it just opens up so many doors that you would never even imagine. So I guess the few thoughts that come to mind for me or for me, Eric, is I also interviewed Uncle Funk recently,
I saw
who,
that. Yeah.
yeah, is an incredible human being, really passionate indie developer from South Africa, building this really beautiful community with like a really righteous mission to help people and protect, people who are at risk of various, threats and predators in South Africa. And so he streams every single day on Blaze. And he streams his game development. He streams with his community and he's connecting with his community. Matthew Buxton from Warp Chain hosts No Cap Gaming, which is a Twitter space I think it's Thursday. I think they were live today. Really good community, talking about games, talking about the industry. Matthew
That's awesome.
Buxton is incredibly sharp. He worked at Jagex and was
Oh, wow.
a part of RuneScape. Someone that I think you would get along with. And just connecting with that community. I mean, those types of things are like what a lot of game developers found as their reprieve a little bit to get out of the Discord for a little while, connect with some other like-minded people. So I know that space is really good. And then in terms of play testers, Maddox and Terrace from Dream Test Labs do incredible work and have an incredible community of game testers and game or like bug finders. And so when that time comes, I'd happy to introduce you to them.
Oh, that'd
These
be
are,
amazing. Yeah.
yeah, these are people that like, are here for the right reasons and love supporting indie games and just want to be a part of stuff. And like, they're excited to just jump in, as is Doffer and Tyler and some of the people in the Blaze chat, Mount Doji, Ice and Dark. Appreciate y'all hanging out. Yeah, man, there's a lot of stuff out there. So I think what you're doing is really cool. It does seem very early, but I do appreciate like, you building in public in many regards, and excited to kind of follow along your journey, man.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having us on, and I think you'll be really surprised in the next couple months when you see what the game looks like at that point.
Cool.
Yeah, and I'd
I'm
love
looking.
to chat again sometime.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Open invitation. Before we go, Doffer is asking, can we talk to the people that they fight? Yes or no? He's been throwing ooh-woos in the chat. He wants to be a badass waifu.
Oh yeah.
If he kills someone, am I gonna get a ooh-woo? Can he ooh-woo them?
Oh yeah, you can ooh woo in text chat. We have a global chat, like proximity based text chat. We also have we're building out proximity voice chat, so you could troll people on voice comms, you could whisper them. We're like super focused on the social aspect of the game, not just like the economy or the gameplay.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, there you have it, Doffer. There you go. Your heart's hopefully that hits all your heart's desires. Eric, man, thank you so much. I'm gonna drop you off the stream. I'm gonna close it out, but really great to connect, man. Keep fighting the good fight. I think crypto gaming needs more people like yourself who like have that vision, but also, I don't know, the practical kind of like fiscal responsibility to build with a low burn and to like, just trying to make great art and maybe not just cash in on
right back at you. I mean, I think like you're just great for the crypto gaming community, and it'd be amazing if there were even more people like you who are supporting the indie developers instead of focusing on like the latest token drop or whatever. So yeah, I really appreciate what you're doing for the community as well.
Thank you, man. That means a lot. Eric, we'll talk to you in the next one, man. Appreciate you.
Sounds good. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. All right, guys. That was Eric. That was the big one. That was cool. Shout out Eric. W Doffer. Doffer. Thank you so much for all the love and all the energy. I'm a League of Legends player. You already know. Troller on my radar. Oh, absolutely. Dude, I love that, man. I mean, I didn't mean to like drop him so fast, but I really appreciate what he said at the end. Like, I feel there's been like a deeper calling in this mission of interviewing and bringing on indie game developers, because like, man, they got the passion, they got they're here for the right reasons, and so often they're like really great people who just like don't have a platform to get their message out. And I don't know how big my platform is or isn't, but it's really cool to be able to provide a platform. So that's awesome, man. I enjoyed that one. Shout out to Eric. Shout out to the big one. And if you guys missed the beginning of the show, it really came from like him just being active on Twitter and in the comments, being, and engaging and being like, oh, like, we're going to fix crypto gaming. Like we're on a mission to do it better and do it differently. And that persistence was like, okay, tell me more. So you got my attention, or you had my interest. Now you got my attention, right? It's like, all right, like, tell me more. Like here, let's find out. Very ambitious, very early, but also like, that's what it's about, man. Like make great art and have fun. So shout out to Eric, shout out to the big one. I love that. At the same time, I also like, I mean, we talk about like crypto RuneScape, but like a lot of the games are like pixelated, top down, like it's not RuneScape, it's not RuneScape. Whereas the big one kind of gives me like Decentraland vibes, to be honest. And I'm down with that, dude. Like, you don't need great graphics. I mean, RuneScape was never famed for their graphics, even though in 2003, 2005, like, good graphics at the time. But people aren't playing RuneScape today for the great graphics. They're playing for that world and that. I mean, dude, I wish they brought back the wilderness, man. It's so crazy that they don't have the wilderness, because that was the best part about RuneScape to me. Mechanic and having fun, absolutely. Being waifu and seeing ooh got me sold. Got me sold. Shout out to Doffer. Guys, that's gonna do it for the episode. That's all we got today. But before we get out of here, I gotta tell you what's going on tomorrow, which let me bring this back up on stage. I am very, very, very excited about what we're doing tomorrow. We are running a Giga Chad Bat game tournament. This is going to be a really fun tournament. 12 p.m. EST. Premium only. Premium players only, which means we're putting up $150. Ice and Dark, Mount Doji, Doffer. If you guys are free tomorrow at 12, come through. $150 in the prize pool. To play, you need to, one, sign up on this form right here. Let me go to the form, load that in there. You need to follow these instructions and fill out this form. Sign up through our referral link, go to the premium mode, get 60 premium balls, which cost $6. $6 is all that costs to be able to enter a tournament that is going to pay out $150. Doffer, there is that tweet right there for you. You can follow all those links. What's fun about that is everyone is going to be a winner. Everyone who plays is going to be a winner. So you spend $6, you're probably going to win back your $6, and you have the chance to win more. Maybe not a lot more. Maybe it's only $10, $20, $30, but it's still going to be a really fun way to compete in a, I guess, pay to enter tournament. But we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to run it. Giga Chad Bat is super fun. And, skill to earn. So I'm really excited to do that. We're going to be live on Blaze, 12 p.m. EST, which is 18 hours from now. Exactly 18 hours from now. In my Discord, the links are down below. Instructions are all there in the post and on the form. Should be super fun. Shout out to YGG Play, Giga Chad Bat, and Blaze for helping me pay my rent and buy my girlfriend sushi, which a happy girlfriend equals a happy Icy. With that, guys, I really appreciate you hanging out. Happy Thursday. Stay humble. Stay gaming, stay dreaming, stay sending them votes, man. Doffer came in hot, 20 votes after 20 votes after 20 votes after another 20 votes. My guy gave me like 110 votes, something like that. Can't say thank you enough. I need them votes. Big shout out to everyone. And you shared the stream in the chat and everything. I appreciate you, man. It's been a blast. Happy Thursday. My name is Icy Gaming, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.